Hello everybody. I wanted to review Gendy Tarkovsky's Clone Wars Microseries. Where do I get started? I love this series. This was actually one of my first introductions to the expanded universe before I seriously got into it. This series, I really like the 2D animation. I've only seen a little bits and pieces of scenes from Samurai Jack, but I actually really do like that animation style. It also does blend a little bit of 3D animation, or computer animation, but it's only done on the ships. But it's kind of a bit cel-shaded in a way, so it doesn't really stick out and look weird. But yeah, the 3D animation ships are great looking. Man, where else do I start with this? I have so much to say. One of my favorite things about this show is Anakin Skywalker's character development. It starts off about sometime after the start of the Clone Wars, and Obi-Wan and Anakin are going on a mission to capture the banking clan on the planet Monolith, which is Darth Plagueis' homeworld and Sandhill's homeworld. And it showcases a very heroic but still very hot-headed, brash young Anakin. And I think that's how Anakin should have been. He should have been depicted more like how he was depicted in this series. He's still a bit whiny, yeah. And I don't hate Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker. I actually think he did an okay job as Anakin Skywalker in Attack of the Clones. I like Hayden Christensen in Revenge of the Sith, though, but I still like this. I still like this version of Anakin better than Hayden Christensen's Anakin. And I even like this version of Anakin better than oh, sorry. TCW's Anakin Skywalker, because, again, this version of Anakin Skywalker got better character development. I mean, that's one of my problems with TCW Anakin Skywalker, is because he has a Padawan, it kind of cuts the character development a little bit. I mean, I'm not saying TCW Anakin is bad. I still like TCW Anakin. He was still what Anakin should have been in the prequels. But again, I still prefer this version of Anakin. A lot of people criticize the action. They're like, oh, it's so over the top. Ugh, why is there no dialogue? Why are they just fighting? Why aren't the clones talking? To be honest, the clone troopers as they were presented in Attack of the Clones were meant to be faceless soldiers with no personality. Based on what the Kaminoan cloners said. And you don't have to have... I think there's enough dialogue to drive the story forward and create tension between the characters. And you don't have to have a story with dialogue. You can tell a story without dialogue, and it can still be good. Another part of the over-the-top action people hate is the claim that the Jedi are overpowered. Oh, they're like freaking Dragon Ball Z characters. Oh, we didn't see that in the movies. How come we didn't see that in the Star Wars movies? Well, that's one of my problems with the Star Wars movies, is Jedi don't proactively use their Force powers. In this, they do. And honestly, Yoda and Mace Windu's feats are actually not all that out of place for a Jedi of that skill caliber. I mean, Yoda and Mace are one of the most powerful Jedis ever. And as for why they didn't do that, I can't answer. They just didn't proactively use their powers. And as for the Jedi being overpowered, there's a scene in Attack of the Clones where the Jedi and clones are rushing up against the Separatist army, and then in another shot, that section of the army is completely wiped out. You think, there's no way the Jedi and clones would have survived that, considering the Jedi were rushing in the front. Well, it's not unreasonable that the Jedi pulled out a type of feat you'd see in this series against the droid army. Have you ever thought of that? Another thing I really like about this series is General Grievous. This was the first time General Grievous appeared in the Star Wars universe. It was not Revenge of the Sith. It was this series. And his introduction was badass. And it was my favorite depiction of General Grievous. He was scary, intimidating. His army had these Jedi cornered and bogged down. They were exhausted. And then Grievous came in. There's so much great tension in that scene. And this is better than Revenge of the Sith Grievous, who is a freaking coward. And here, he was a fucking badass, taking on several Jedi at once. He took on Aayla Secura, Kakruk, Ki-Adi-Mundi, and Shakti. Ki-Adi-Mundi were freaking council masters. And there's a few other Jedi he killed too, but he wrecked those Jedi. And I absolutely love that. This series is also a great lead-in to Revenge of the Sith, because the series ends right at the opening of Revenge of the Sith. So as you're marathoning the prequel trilogy, you can watch this in between. It actually depicts the Battle of Coruscant and General Grievous capturing Chancellor Palpatine. And it's great. There's a great chase between the Jedi trying to protect him and General Grievous chasing after the Chancellor and the Jedi. And of course there's also the action with the Battle of Coruscant, their droid army landing on the streets of Coruscant and fighting. It's really cool and it's really great. This was also my first introduction to Asajj Ventress. And also my first introduction to the idea that, using the dark side does not make you a Sith. Like, just having a red blade and being a dark side doesn't make you a Sith. Because they had Asajj. There's a really cool scene where Asajj Ventress is being a badass, and then she's like, "The dark side is strong in me, for I am Sith." And then Dooku laughs like, "Girl, please, you are not a Sith. You look like a Sith, you fight like a Sith, but Sith have no fear." And then he completely overpowers her. And while I do like this version of Asajj Ventress, I kind of like the TCW Ventress, at least for the character development. I don't like TCW Ventress for the contradictions in the lore, because TCW contradicted a lot of stuff. And to be honest, I think this would actually fit better in canon than TCW. One of my reasons being, TCW actually did contradict the films a little bit. Again, they stated the clones were totally obedient. Again, I like TCW's depiction of the clone troopers. I like that they gave them personality. That is really cool. The clones were really great in TCW, but again, that kind of doesn't, even though it doesn't fit with the movies, I still like those versions of the clone troopers. In Revenge of the Sith, Grievous and Obi-Wan, when they fight, it seemed when when Grievous says, "You fool, I was trained in the Jedi arts," it makes it seem like that was the first time that Grievous and Obi-Wan had ever fought. And then in TCW, they're fighting all the time. And that kind of makes the dialogue in the prequels the choppy dialogue seem even more stupid. Also, on Revenge of the Sith, when Obi-Wan and Anakin fight Dooku for the final time, it makes it seem like they hadn't seen each other since Geonosis. So that's one of the reasons why I think this could fit in canon a lot better. Again, I am not shitting on TCW. I am a fan of TCW. I do like the series. It's not just nostalgia for this series that's blinding me. I still have nostalgia for TCW because I was still a kid when TCW came out in 2008. In fact, when the TCW movie came out, it was over the summer, and I was going in from the 5th grade to the 6th grade. And I was in 6th grade when the first season of TCW aired on Cartoon Network, so I still have nostalgia and connection to that series. I just prefer the Clone Wars Microseries over TCW, and if you like TCW, like I said, that's fine. I'm not judging you. I like that series too. Again, I really like the battles in this series. The battles are fantastic. The Battle of Moonalist, where the bounty hunter Dirge came in, that was really cool. It was a bit over the top, I admit. Them having lances and getting into like a speeder bike joust. That shit is badass. And again, they weren't just spearing the tanks. They were also throwing explosives onto them. What else? What else do I have to say? I'm kind of running out of things to say. Would I suggest Gendy Tarkovsky's Clone Wars Microseries? Yes. You need to watch this if you're a Star Wars fan. If you're an EU fan, you'd like this better than TCW because it fits better with the EU. I would definitely recommend this. Watch this as a lead into Revenge of the Sith. There's also one contradiction. Oh, Asajj Ventress dies, but she's later resurrected in the EU in Star Wars The Clone Wars. Well, did we actually see her body in this show? We just saw her fall. We didn't actually see her die, so it's kind of left up to the viewer whether she survives or not. So anyway, what do you think of the Clone Wars Microseries? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you prefer this over TCW? Do you prefer TCW over this? Let me know. And have you watched it? Let me know your thoughts, people, and give me a like, a comment, and a subscribe, and have a good day. Have a good day, people.